This is.
The reason why we're looking at North Texas is because they were huge favorites, and they are a home team in college basketball. Yep, and college basketball is a game of runs. So, that Bert's team's gonna win.
A game of what'd you say?
Runs.
So when they get on a run.
Well, it's just basketball today. Like teams go up by 15 and then they go down by 15. It's just like you can come back from those numbers.
With the way everybody shoots 3-pointers at this point, like it just takes a couple misses and the other team catching it for a minute, and the swings can get wild very quickly. Very quickly.
Yeah, that's why when we'll be watching and you're like, oh, not looking good. I'm like, really? Is it? It's like around. It'll turn in like 3.5 minutes, man.
Well, but the Billikens play 6 players, and one of them was hurt last night, and they still almost came back and did it. But that's where my fatalism was coming with.
I kind of wish music was like that, like where you could just try really hard and play really good, and then you would get big. But that's just not the way it works.
Isn't that
off effort?
Isn't that what
effort?
Gumption.
Isn't that what happens?
Isn't that what happens?
Showing up on time.
Well, I think that's what happens.
I mean, I think that is what happens, but it doesn't happen in a night. It's not like.
You don't see the results.
I'm doing the show. Oh, we're losing the crowd. You're like,
I mean,
I don't know if it works like that, but
clearly it doesn't. But it doesn't mean that someone doesn't get hot for a year.
There's definitely times where we're playing really well, and other times where it's like, okay, that was a little sloppy.
When do you play well?
Times.
Okay, yeah.
There's times.
Yeah, what year are we talking? That's not recent, is it?
2025.
2025.
Oh, what year is today?
2025.
Okay, so the year is moving.
He's saying that he's good.
What's that?
The Texas shows were good.
Yeah, they were good.
They were.
No, but I mean, like when you do a tour and you're playing every night, there are certain shows that you are on fire. Everything's perfect. It might all be in your head. It might not actually be true. And then there's other shows where you're like clunky and you're not saying things right, not playing the right notes. But then everybody's like, that was a great show. The crowd went crazy. So it's all about the crowd. If the crowd liked it, if the crowd went crazy, then you obviously played well.
It is wild though, watching how different, in my spot booking shows and watching bands play. I'll use Descendants as an example. I've had 3 Descendants shows in the past 6 years, and the first 2 were when they were doing basically fly-in rental shows, and then the third one they were on show 18 in 23 days, and they were just killers. They just went for it, and it was this is the difference when you're out there doing it every night. And it is kind of funny to see that you can actually pick up on the differences.
I've told this story before, but when we were on our first tour, it was before Life in General came out. I was basically about to write that record, and after our first tour, we actually played every night, and we played so much that we got better as musicians, we got better as a band, and that led into the drastic jump up to Life in General. Mm-hmm. And we had Steve Kravac, which, he kind of kicked our ass a lot, taught us how to play. He would literally tell me, be consistent, hit that string exactly the same every time, do, 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 do. And so, we all got obsessed for a minute. Maybe not Tom.
Do you think that worked? Do you think that worked? Do you start hitting that string the same every single time?
Absolutely.
Okay, so why can't you do that when we're like, Mike, say this?
Well, it's a little different.
It's 20 years later.
Talking is a lot harder than playing bass.
Was that the first time that you had a producer that was really in your ass?
Yes.
And okay, this is what you have to do.
Pause.
Aaron Sprinkle just what? What?
He got it.
Set a producer in your ass.
Pause, man.
Oh my god. Next topic. No. What's funny though is Kravac was the first guy because Aaron Sprinkle on the first record was great. as a friend, but like he didn't tell us to do anything over. Like one time we got through it, all good.
Did he tell you to do anything over when you did it again in 2006?
Barely. I was much better then though when we did Secret Weapon. We did a couple other songs, but no, Air Sprinkle's great, but it was different back then because it was his first record. He didn't know to tell people to do it again, right. Just like we didn't know we were supposed to.
And that was more
if it wasn't perfect.
And that's more what I was asking. Like it was like the first time that you had been with somebody.
And Bob Moon on the second record, same deal. Just recorded us, didn't tell us. I mean, we did overdubs and retook some takes, but for the most part, it was just like, all right, good enough, right? Cool.
Yeah.
Right, moving on.
Bob Moon was working. Bob Moon was working at Jared's venue. So it's like he was like the sound guy. So Jared would text me and just go, "Yeah, Bob Moon. He did Teenage Politics."
What venue? Jared?
Yeah,
the one in Riverside.
Yeah, what's it called?
The pizza place. It's like Romano's
Glass
Pizza
House
or something.
Or
no, not Glass. No. It was I don't.
Oh.
I have no idea what the name is.
You're talking about somebody that I don't know who you're talking about.
He worked with.
Jared.
Yeah, Jared. He was on that crew.
He helped at the Palladium show.
Yeah. He worked. He in California.
Let's see, it's called.
Mike never played there. He's not going to recognize this. It's much newer, but Bob Moon has been their sound guy for a while.
Yeah,
like today.
We see him
not back then.
We see Bob
today.
now and again. Like he came out to a show down there, and he's a really happy, well-adjusted adult man. And
how does that feel?
And now
he got away from us,
and we're adults. I don't know if we're well-adjusted, but he's doing good, and it's good to see people actually still just doing their thing, whatever it is. Like he was always into sound and recording, but he never played an instrument. That was really where it was different for us, because Aaron Sprinkle played an instrument. He was a band guy. Steve Kravac played an instrument. He was a band guy. He was a drummer. That really made a huge difference, because Steve Kravac played drums, so he actually tuned the drums the way they would sound tight and cut through the mix in the right way. It wasn't as mushy sounding. Sure. So it was not only our playing that was better, it was a lot of the tones and the mixing. And Steve Kravac really still takes producing and engineering very seriously.
That's why we don't let him around us.
Yeah, I know. We're not that serious. Steve. We love Steve, but it's like
too serious.
He gets too perfect, A lot of people probably know, but Buffalo was just an insane process of over perfection in a lot of ways. Like, it doesn't mean the record didn't come out great. It did. But the actual process of making it was like, I don't know if I like making records like this.
Right.
I want to make a record a little different. So like when we started working with Jerry Finn, everything got easy. Everything was like, wow, now we can just not worry about if we screw up or not. Just play the song, just sing the song. And
but is that also because you got better? That's because you got better.
Yes.
Not just
Yeah. It's not just because of the producers, but at the same time we got better. Like I said, I credit Steve in the back for making us better. And then we took all that and moved on to a producer that was letting us breathe more. Mm-hmm. And it worked because we could actually play.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Breathe more.
Romano's Concert Lounge.
I keep thinking about. That's right.
Never heard of it. Never heard.
I told you. I was like, we are wasting time. I always think about the Ever Passing Moment, because I think about what it was like to put that record on and hear those opening, that opening riff of My Life Story. Mm-hmm. So every time we talk about Jerry Finn, I just think about, oh, you mean the masterpiece?
Yeah.
The masterpiece, the 3.5-minute masterpiece that leads off that record.
We told Tom Wally this should be the single. And he's like, no, like, responsibility, this is it.
You probably have a case to sue Tom Wally.
Probably. And then when we were playing Irving Plaza for, whatever that tour was for that album, he's sitting up in the balcony, in the VIP balcony area with Creighton, our manager at the time. We start the song, because that's what we started with, the set, know. And he leans over to Creighton, he's like, this should have been a single. We're like, what? We told you. Yeah, it happens, but we told you. And then the next day we went to his beach house in Jersey on the shore, and he had like a full staff of like servants and servers. I mean, I'm sure they were paid well, but we're just like, where are we?
Oh my God.
What world have we?
This is the guy we let talk us into responsibility.
And this guy didn't listen to us. So anyway, and Tom Wally was not our worst A&R guy, so hey, there you go.
All he needed was to see you live. That's how we do it these days.
Yeah. And the next record, Ron Fair told us, just make a song that sounds like Jimmy Eat World, and we'll be happy.
Wow.
So a lot of people always ask, hey, did they ever tell you like how to do that? Like, yeah, they try. But what are you gonna do? It's just one of those things that I look back on and just laugh about because it was ridiculous. You remember the story where we're supposed to meet with him and then he got stuck behind a refrigerator?
I do. I don't know if Brad knows this story.
Yeah, stuck behind a refrigerator.
So
Bert knows this story.
Fuck
you! Come on,
we're
Texas
supposed to be meeting up with Ron Fair, the president of the label, and our A&R guy, and this was for the Before Everything and After album, and it was when we were recording, and we're like, where is this guy? Like, he said he was going to be here. we get a text from him, guys, I can't make it. Or he texts our manager. I don't know if it was a text because back then,
what was it, like 2002?
It was 2002.
They were just starting.
Right around then.
It was probably like, I don't have a lot of minutes. I don't have a lot of time to talk.
Yeah, I imagine this man on like a T9. A T9, like, doop, doop.
That was back when cell phones were like, you would call, if you had a different area code, it was long distance, so.
Long distance.
So Creighton's phone was in California, or so whatever, I don't know the details, but he gets hold of Creighton and is like, I can't make it. I was in my basement and I had these guys come move a refrigerator out of the basement and they got it stuck in the stairwell. And so I'm stuck in the basement and there's no other way out, which is absolutely terrifying if you think about it.
Yeah, that's something that's bad.
And we just made fun of it all day, and we're still kind of making fun of him.
How did he get the fridge out? How did he get the fridge out of the basement?
I think they probably called some more servants. Sorry.
Just cut the thing in half, unbolt it, take it apart piece by piece, and just walk it up the stairs.
Probably cheaper than hiring a contractor.
We never fit into like the major label rich people game type thing. It was always
that's what makes the stories great, though.
Yeah,
that's what makes the stories great. It's like you didn't belong there.
You did not belong,
but it worked at the same time. Like probably most of these bands didn't. They just became that after a while.
I think the Tom Wally trip to the Jersey Shore was right after we did Conan. So it makes sense that we were there, not on a tour, because when would we have time? Let's stop by the Jersey Shore, guys, on tour. Right. Not going to happen. So yeah,
can you imagine if someone told me, yeah, we're gonna, between these two shows, we're gonna take a detour to the Jersey Shore? Just imagine what that text back from.
Well, we used to do a lot of that back in the day when Tommy Rat was in charge.
Yeah, that's why he's not in charge anymore.
He'd be like, all right, let's go do some fun activities. We go to Lake of the Ozarks. And
that sounds fun.
And just no plan, just find a place.
Lake of the Ozarks.
We found a guy with a boat that was cool, and he took us all over the place.
That's awesome.
It was so crazy. Awesome. A different time and place than we are now in 2025.
Different world.
Right.
The Lake of the Ozarks, though.
I don't want you guys having any fun anymore.
That's where I'm from. So, there is some... the Lake of the Ozarks.
It's pretty out there, man.
It's pretty, but, man, comparing that to the Jersey Shore... little different vibe.
Little different vibe.
There was it was
We have meth though in Missouri.
No, I'm sure there's meth in Jersey too.
Our tech at the time, Dave Meckler, there was a joke about him because he was such a goofy guy. We'd be like, "Oh, you don't want to get Mecklered out in the middle of nowhere." Like we used his name as a verb, but we were at a club. We went to a bar that night. The first night we were in the Ozarks, we went to this nightclub, like booty type bar, like college bar. Big old place, tons of rooms. We're in there. We're just like standing around, drinking our beer or whatever. We're like, all right, let's get out of here. Everybody's leaving, and Meckler starts yelling, "Hey, anybody got a car? Want to make some money?" And he's telling it to all these ladies, and they're all just looking at him like, this guy is a creeper. Curly hair. Not that there's anything wrong with curly hair.
Curly hair.
I have a little bit of curly hair
There
now and again, but
Curly hair.
we made fun of him so long, just like, anybody got a car? Want to make some money?
Don't get Mecklered.
Don't get Mecklered.
Oof.
I've been on the receiving end of my name
yelling that.
I've been on the receiving end of having my name be used as a verb. So
For Burton.
Hurting for a Burton?
man, that's an all-timer.
Love it. So
I thought it was the other one.
Burton for hurting.
Squirting for a Burton.
That one.
I hate that.
All right, how to succeed in the music business or die trying.
Don't ask us.
Die trying.
The die trying part we might not. We might know
That part. All right, Bert. Tell all book. All right, tell everybody how to succeed.
Don't listen to me. I know.
You know what?
I mean, we don't, so
Yeah.
we're on the right path.
That's where
If
we
I've
go.
learned anything on how to succeed, we just have to be brutal fucking assholes.
Yeah. No, man. Everyone says that you're a dick.
Oh, you're cool, dude.
Yeah.
It's cool, dude.
No, like it's really weird.
I always
because
heard, "Don't be a dick." That's what I heard.
I mean, do you
That's
want
what
to
told
get into that? Why you have to be such a jerk?
No,
To succeed,
no. You just
No.
gotta get things done.
just get things done.
Yeah, there it is.
like there's plenty of times
Being
where
a dickhead should be like a tool you have to use sometimes when you can't move.
You
the
don't
needle.
need to
Shouldn't
use
actually be a dickhead, but
Yeah, it shouldn't be the baseline, but it should be like a
you
like
you can have it.
you can have dickhead tendencies.
I actually don't really see it that way. I think the people around you that you don't have to, you can be yourself. But I think that
course.
in business,
Yes.
it depends on the amount of money. It's just really the truth. Because once you realize there's a giant threshold of like, all right, we're dealing with like $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, and it's like what you learn is that even people who make money are like, good for you, man. Like that's really good. You know what I mean? The minute you make six figures, like you're up at 100, like that deals to 100, it's game over. People don't. No one's rooting for you.
no, it's really
No one's rooting for you.
excited
They all
for you
want
anymore.
that. They all want
They're
it
like,
from you.
oh, how do I get that?
They want a piece of it. It's
So
a
when
whole
you
different-
get into the bigger numbers, that's when it gets brutal.
Yep.
So
I mean-
smaller numbers. Oh, look at you! Good job. Pat on the back.
I mean, as a promoter, like when I'm dealing with sums of money that are like, I really need this. You sent $3,500. This deal really needs to be at $5,000. It's like, I mean, you think about it, but like if you're in 35, what's another 1,500? Like, you know what I mean? But man, when you start talking about paying rappers $60,000 and like,
Why'd you have to make
Cash.
this racist?
because, come on, but like the
What? Eminem
no, but like
got a new record out.
it's like it's just funny, like
In cash. Back-
or anybody. It could be anybody, but like the
sorry,
current, the two current examples. In my,
You're the one that said rapper.
I know. Well, it could be any artist, but the two shows I have now that are currently active debacles are rap shows.
Yeah.
So like in my brain, I'm like, well,
Gibbons wasn't a debacle. That was
no, Billy is good, but like, so it's but you're looking at those amounts of money, and it's like, oh, I don't feel. No, there's nothing cool here. You're not rooting for these dudes. It becomes a straight up business transaction.
Yeah,
like when you're
that's what it is.
when there's like a when you're in the like 5,000 cap. $5,000 shows, like I'm actively looking like, oh man, like what can I do to maybe like help them make an extra couple bucks on the show and like show that I'm trying and stuff. When I'm at 60 grand and a show's not selling well, I'm trying to claw things back. I'm like, you don't need 3 runners. I'm not renting a van. I'm not doing this. Like, you got to do it. So it does change the dynamic quite a bit with how that stuff goes. And again, if I'm paying somebody $5,000 and I have the other stuff, it's like, well, shit happens. Like, let's do it. Once you start getting into the larger sums of money, like those feelings are very real. Like, you feel taken advantage of. And like, you got to take care of this.
But it's also not just. I mean, it just spreads. It's very strange. It's very strange how it just, you go from people being grateful to people being like, they got to get there. It's like the whole mindset of almost everybody changes. It's very rare to not. Yeah,
it's like on a dime.
And nobody. It's not something people talk about a lot. So you end up having. It's the volume, because now you have to do anything. What level we just talked about? 60 grand, 60 to 100. Okay, to be anywhere around there, like the amount of people that you need to get things done. So now your problems are also exponential to what they are when you have a $5,000 show.
Yeah,
you have a lot less people.
Money goes up, expenses go up.
People are happy to be there.
One person could really handle a $5,000 show.
Probably not these days.
Not
5 years ago. Yeah.
No, I meant like booking a show.
I mean, you could argue that one person can book a show at any rate, but then people have to execute the thing, and that's where it gets complicated.
But like, just for an example, with like your band, like when did you get from the point where like your roadies and your crew were like your dudes, and then when did you start hiring professionals?
Like how long?
We haven't hired any professionals yet.
Last?
Yeah, no, I mean, look at this sack.
Andy calls himself a professional, but like
they're all homies.
This dude literally just wouldn't go away, and now he works for audio companies because I was a good reference.
Well, I guess I'm more, but like when you were starting out, and like initially, it was all like your people that were around.
At one point, we actually hired Kenny Butler, who, I don't know, he was like a longtime roadie, and he was from Seattle, and we hired him to be our guitar tech, and he taught JJ and Neil everything.
Yeah.
He just like, all right, guys, this is what's going. We hired him for that reason back then, and he went on. He got poached from us by Green Day, and he was with them for 20 or more years, and I think he finally maybe retired by now, but maybe he's still with them. I don't know.
Wow.
But he was the guy cleaning up those burnt up drum sets forever. He was. Yeah. He was Trey Cool's drum tech.
Yeah, I think
that was the first time we hired a real tech.
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to get at is like when you're in the smaller level, like a lot of times, like that's another way that stakes are lower. Like the people that you have working with you are your buddies. It's whatever, you've been dealing with this, and like once you're at that point of whatever, you're just like, oh, this operation, we need an accountant. We need this. We need that, and it like the stakes just change. Yeah. So everything.
I'm so triggered.
Oh, I know.
But it's
ideally, like all those guys scale with the band, learn, but a lot of people don't make it.
Well, when you
gotta hire professionals.
When you have a production manager and a tour manager, that's when the tour gets really big.
I mean, that's happening at a smaller and smaller level these days.
I feel like that's what we need.
But at least traditionally, when we were on tours that had both of those things, where the tour manager was just to take care of the band only and didn't deal with production and crew, and that was and we got to that level. I mean, we were doing tours.
You're at that level now.
Moron. That's true.
we got to that level.
Well, I'm saying we got to that level. Okay. We're still at that level.
All right.
But,
listen.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yet?
We do. No, I don't. I've been watching them. But I do think we'll get it soon if we're going to get it at all. I think there's it's happening earlier and earlier for many, many tours. But even in the case of us, we have so many people for where we are going, not necessarily where we are. And Brad's probably like, that's insane, man, because everybody's busy all the time. You know what I mean? But it's really about where you're going, not about where you are, because nothing is.
It's kind of like we're
betting houses, baby. That's what we talk about all the time.
Yeah,
we're betting houses.
You can't maintain the status quo because of the inflation of life. You're just not going to be able to stay even. So you have to almost make more. whether it's more money or just do whatever that is.
But
you have to build
sometimes things just grow, though. You know, sometimes like something's actually growing. Like, you could be intentionally trying to set it up correctly, but sometimes things are just growing. And if you end up taking people who are not used to where you're going, where you go, it can end badly real quick. You know, so in the case of like us, we're always kind of pointing out, well, this is going to get bigger. This is going to be this. This person's going to eventually have to do just this. And we point that out all the time. You know, and then look out for each other because someone might need help. You know, big boy stress kind of stuff.
Yeah. Big boy, big stress.
Gotta deal with the venue guy.
Big boy, big stress.
Can you do it? Don't mention him by name. What's the how'd the guy yell at you in Dallas? Come on. Let everybody know what
Robert. We're curfew's happening. Like, what's going on? Robert said we're gonna get it done. There's on the stairs.
I want to tell a story about after that.
And then I get finished and like I'm gesticulating wildly, stomping around there, and I walk over to him and I go, "An hour flat, like we said." And like that was the last thing that I said. I'm like, "Hour flat, just like we said." I was so mad.
Tony hits me up and goes, "Hey man, do I need to fill out this thing? The venue's asking me for it." And I go, no, man, like, we don't. I took a deep breath. I thought about it. And then I texted him. I was like, no, we don't. I don't want you filling that out. You know what I mean? And let me know if there's an issue. And he just goes, got it. And so then I text Bert. And I was like, hey, this happened. Make sure it doesn't happen. He just goes, don't worry about it. And then I find out later that Tony puts the phone down and just takes the piece of paper, crumples it up, and throws it over his shoulder. And everyone just leaves.
Yeah, he was just like...
But I was like, well, I can't get mad. I got my ass for it.
Yeah, that was what it was. Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny because, like, you know, growing up when we were touring...
By the way, hold on. I got to cut you off. Okay. That's a good example, though. Like, are we being dicks? Those people are going to think we're being dicks. But we also did what we needed to do, and also what we said we were going to do. Like, what we had agreed to. We didn't agree to give them any of that stuff. So then someone shows up being like, give us this stuff. Like, we don't do it. But those people, they're not going to be like, excuse me, sir. Like, we didn't do this. They're going to be like, oh, no, like, everybody does this. And you're like, all right, cool, go fuck yourself. And your mom.
Yeah, I mean, afterwards, and, like, even afterwards when we were emailing after the show, like, it came up like twice, and Brad and I just straight up ignored it. Like, we were just like, we're not, like, what's the point? It's like, if that comes up again, it's like, cool.
Oh, I forgot, sorry.
Cool, I'll write down $6. You know? Like, at that point, it's just like,
at that point, because principle.
It's just principle. It's just like, come on.
On
like,
their end, on our end, and that's where...
Come on. We have more important things.
Being a dick is in the eye.
Like, and it's tough because I feel for the person who has to deliver that message, because there's absolutely a bean counter somewhere that is saying, I need this piece of paper signed. And like the person we're being hostile towards when it gets to that point is 99% of the time not the person who our feelings. It's so like, like I'll get mad at people sometimes at my day job. I'm like, this kid's making $18 an hour. Like, you can't talk to people that way. Like, if you have a problem, like, talk to me. Mm-hmm. You know, and so I kind of feel bad when, like, somebody at the venue is like, hey, do this, when I know it's literally just some accountant that's sitting in Detroit or something. That's like, I need this for our records. And it's like, oh, sorry, dude. Like, you're just the one who's going to get pitched at. But, like, that's what it is. So that's always a weird vibe, you know? Yeah, well, it's always a little weird.
What I was going to say is, don't be a dick is always in the eye of the beholder who's being a dick. Mm-hmm. You know, Brad never thinks I'm being a dick.
Sometimes. But
come on, man.
It's like,
people are listening.
Yeah.
Or me.
What?
Or me. He never thinks I am either.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
we're angels.
Yeah, you guys are perfect angels.
There we go. See?
I mean, I'm an angel.
Yes.
That could be.
I've got a lot better just in general with the band. Like, I used to show up late to lobby call a lot. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's Mark and Andy's job.
It's my own decision.
That was so funny. I couldn't believe it with those two.
I know.
Mark and Andy. What did Mark and Andy do?
They
forgot to set an alarm.
Yeah, they missed lobby call.
Oh, did they?
Andy says, I thought Mark set an alarm.
Yeah, they totally did.
Hold on.
Oh, no.
Andy just sent me a text.
Oh, no.
Not too long ago. It said, I just got a major craving for rice treats that they sell at 7-Elevens in Tokyo. Can you please send us back to Japan? And I says, that depends on if you're on your best behavior. And he then texts back, I remembered how to spell your name. It's a start, right? And now, hey, man, I just found out about missing lobby call. Let's see if he responds during this podcast. Missing lobby call.
Call him up.
I thought he said alarm. Likely story. Likely.
It was likely. I thought it was like. I was like, oh, damn. Okay.
Who doesn't set their alarm? Who doesn't set an alarm? Like,
Mark and
trusts?
Andy.
Yeah.
Who trusts?
Yeah. Well, they both clearly trusted each other, and then.
Remember the days of wake-up calls? You would literally call the front desk and be like, "Hey, can you wake up call for 7:30?" And they would call you.
Yeah,
I think those days still exist.
Technically, it exists, but like nobody does anymore because we all have phones.
We all have an alarm like on our person.
And
old school.
I might call the front desk one time and. This is so and so from room.
Anytime the phone rings in the hotel room, it always assumes like it's bad news.
Yeah, you don't answer that.
Like who is calling?
Yeah, I don't want any part of it. That means somebody is dead.
You think I check those messages? Hell no.
Hell no.
That's not for me.
3 messages on the
Nobody's. If they want to get a hold of me, they will call me on my phone.
Exactly.
And I will see a missed call because I never get them.
But I'm just. But what I also learned about this is that if the wake up call happens and you guys avoid the phone, you're up.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Right, but there was a comedian talking about how like his buddy that had never done it was like wasn't around, like born in the 2000s or something, and was like, I'm gonna try this, and he tries it, doesn't answer the phone, and they keep calling over and over and over again. And the guy just didn't understand what was happening, and finally the guy came to the door. It was knocking on the. He was worried that there was something wrong.
Welfare check style.
Welfare check. Seriously,
dead, man.
And the guy's like, "What?" He was just like freaked out.
I'm getting so many good ideas.
Yeah.
So many good ideas. Oh look, Andy hasn't responded yet.
I was gonna say Andy's probably gonna get a 5 a.m. lobby call every time now from TC
over here, missing lobby, telling me he's on his best behavior. We realized last night we were talking about this. We realized that Andy is the longest tenured crew member.
Yeah.
So I'm now looking for a reason to let him go.
We don't want that streak to go too long.
He gets paid too much, you know. It's time to.
Yep. Time to reset the pay structure at MxPx.
Can we trade him? Can we use his equity?
I'll find out if we can.
I love Andy.
That's some NLRB shit.
I mean, are we looking for a free agent? Or are we looking for a tried and true heavy hitter?
Whew, man. The truth is we haven't really put our ear to the ground with sound guys. We've been so busy that we're just we just let this guy stay.
Well, technically, that's kind of how we got Code.
Well, as bad as behavior,
we don't have to go into all that. But
he's a heavy hitter.
We got a heavy hitter.
I got Code quick.
Yeah,
that's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That was you. Yeah.
I gave him a few days, and then I called him.
Welcome aboard.
Gave him a few days.
Hey, I mean, you got to strike while the iron's hot.
I realized
you got to take advantage of the situation when he's looking for the warm embrace,
dude. I realized the other day that it's coming up on. He's been here for over 2 years.
Wow, really?
Well, if you think about our crew has been has gone to Green Day. Our crew has gone to Bad Religion. Our crew has gone to Good Charlotte. Our crew has gone to Newfound Glory.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure there's some others that I'm not thinking of right now, but. Those are the ones that I'm thinking of that were...
And they all were very clear that we were better.
Yeah.
I'm not going to comment on that.
You can. But, I said it.
It's because we have the brother-ly love.
You want to get mad, you can call me, not call Mike yelling from your bunk in a bus.
I love it. But
it's not like that.
But there's
before.
but a lot of our other techs, like the newer techs, have gone. Like James worked for he's working for Violent Femmes right now. But that wasn't a thing where he got poached because James. It was just we were just not touring for a while, and he wasn't doing it for a while, and then he went back and started working for other people. But he's great.
Yeah, James is awesome.
Leprechaun.
We love you, James.
Violent Femmes.
Violent Femmes, one of my favorite bands. That was one of the first records I ever had where I was like, I knew what music is. Rather than being like a little kid. And
as a fan, being into it.
Yeah, I was so into it.
Oh, so that was like one of the first ones that you...
My mom gave me that record.
Got it. So but that's something that was yours, not like what they were... Got it.
Yeah, I was like, I want some music, and my mom's like, well, I heard this Violent Femmes band is good. And she gave me that. So I must be remembering wrong. That can't be the real story.
My dad brought home a Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction tape one time from a grocery store that sold cassette tapes along with Poison, Open Up and Say Ah, and Michael Jackson Bad. Those are the 3 tapes I got from my dad.
Nice. REM Out of Time was the first one that I ever intentionally I remember this is where we go. And to this day, Less Than Jake and REM are my 2 favorite bands. It was REM Out of Time, and I just remember turning it on, and that first song is called Radio Song, and KRS-One does this hey, can't find nothing on the radio, and it's the first thing you hear as soon as it turns on, and it was whoa,
it's a healthy snap he's got there.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't snap until I was 30. And, it just developed.
Yeah, man, that's good. Yeah. It's a good snap. It's a good.
But
I heard that was normal for humans.
Got my attention.
But Violent Femmes you're talking about, that's they have had the same agent. They've literally had the same agent for over 40 years. The entire time they've been a band. And they've had the same manager for over 30 years. And the guy that works with the Violent Femmes, their agent's a guy named Frank Riley. And Frank, his first 4 bands are all still with him and still work with it. It was Violent Femmes, They Might Be Giants, Ween, and Husker Du, Bob Mould, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And so he's had all of these people for 40 years and they've never left. And so it's pretty wild. The Femmes have been that's I think what people aspire to be.
You told me to climb Machu Picchu.
Yeah, he sent me the text yesterday. He's a 72-year-old man and he climbed Machu Picchu.
That's him?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Same guy, same dude. And he books. He does Wilco, and there's all kinds of weird St. Louis connections with Wilco because they were basically from St. Louis. They were half. Uncle Tupelo was a St. Louis band, and when they broke up, it became Sunvolt and Wilco. And he still got the book both of that. I think he's the only person.
They're not from Chicago?
They moved up to Chicago. Yeah, they were in Belleville, Illinois.
Everybody thinks we're from California because we sound like we're from California.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty wild. But yeah, so that guy has been doing it forever. But I feel that's kind of what people aspire to.
Absolutely.
It's you find people that get you right away, and it's this is good, and you guys stay together, and you're it's a neat thing. But yeah, the Femmes, awesome.
So how do you find that?
Fuck, dumb luck.
Accident.
We found it. I think. I don't know. He might say something different, but it seems like we...
I don't know. I just realized I'm the common denominator of all this. So you all owe me some thank yous. All right?
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
You're the reason we're all here.
Okay.
You're why we know each other.
That's actually really funny. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like...
To me, it shows...
It wasn't... Go ahead, sorry.
To me, a band staying with people that long and, staying relevant and vibrant and everything shows that you have people working that, evolve with what's happening and that you continue to learn and grow. And I feel like the longer you're in one of these situations, things stagnate.
But we don't ever approach everything business first.
I don't think you can if you want to succeed.
That might be why though. That might be why that there's a connection. I don't think any I don't think any of us do.
No.
Like, we all we all have bills to pay, and we all have to make money, and eventually we have money conversations that actually, now that I'm thinking about it, have literally never been awkward. Ever.
No. I've never had any sort of weird interaction with any of you
about that.
We've been in some weird money situations.
We've been in weird money situations, but it's never been because of anything like this. Like, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I said this before. Like, as long as everyone's like behaving ethically and like everyone's intentions are good.
Define
like,
ethically.
I mean, there's different levels to define it, I suppose. But like, as long as everybody's like on the same page and like there's a base level of respect, like that stuff's never going to really be a problem.
I feel like we've navigated a lot of things with creativity, though, about like where do we want to be going, you know? Your band more than others. I mean, every band to a certain degree, but like your band has conversations, and then eventually just gets to the point where I like that. It eventually gets to a point where like I see MxPx making sacrifices. People understand that what you have to do, you know, and I think that that's different than most bands. Most bands, people get really into like, I think it'd be really easy for you to wake up one day and be like, I make a lot of the promos. You know what I mean? I write a lot of the songs. I want this. You know what I mean? And you just don't do that. And you don't do that because maybe you like the people around, or maybe you're smart enough to realize that it's more fun with other people. Whatever it is, you don't do that. You know what I mean? You could, but you don't.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it. I think a lot of people will.
You feel people put their hands up and say, I need this, out of like desperation or unhappiness.
Yeah.
Because like I don't really feel like we create an environment where like people feel that way.
Dude,
because if we talk it out.
We do not make any. That is what makes this camp different. There is never a desperate decision ever made. If we choose to do something and someone rubs us the wrong way, we get out of there. We kick them out of it. We get out of it. We let the money go. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that might be why. Might be why we're able to navigate more. You know?
I mean,
you're not wrong that we've had hard conversations. That's very true.
There's been a lot of shows and situations we've shown up to that have been very, very under par, very weird, very uncomfortable, and we've obviously weathered those storms. But like, yeah, now it's just we kind of like once you kind of know that those things exist, and not every gig is equal.
Yeah,
there's like good gigs and bad gigs that you can book. And sometimes the money's not worth it, or they got to pay you more for it to be worth it, you know, whatever, right? Like, there was a story about, like, Stevie Wonder, and they asked him to play, like, Soundwave Fest, and he asked for, like, $1 million and, like, 17 first-class tickets. And it was like, sure, if you come up with the money, he'll do it, but it's probably just a big hassle to go to Australia, period, right? And so, like, Stevie Wonder needs to be paid for that.
And it's got to be worth time, effort, and punitively, right? Like you got to motivate someone to get up out the house, travel across the world, rent all this shit, spend all this money, pay all these people, and then hopefully get home safely.
Yeah,
to hopefully make some cash.
Yeah, but like he's gone through probably a bunch of times where he said yes and got screwed because of it, this, that, and so that's why he's asking for the 17 first class tickets or the.
Sure.
I mean, I don't really know enough detail to say that's what he should have asked for or not. I don't know, but
ask for 17 to get the 12 you need. Fine,
right.
We just need 12.
There you go. Right.
We'll do it for. Tell you what, we'll do it for 12.
Well, it's a little part of it. If you tell people the truth, then they use it against you.
Yes,
most of the time. Mm-hmm. That's a new thing too. I mean, we've changed things. We turned out a festival offer the other day that was quite lucrative.
Yeah, pretty good.
Quite lucrative.
Got some like non-alcoholic wine tea thing.
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
All right,
look at that.
Yeah,
NA wine.
I don't think it's technically wine, but it's gonna feel like wine. So
okay,
I'm gonna rip it.
No.
Excellent.
We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah? Talking about wine?
Yeah, one of my favorite
And they
restaurants
wine.
at home has a large complement of non-alcoholic wine.
Yeah, so we get out of things all the time. If it's something we want to do, we'll do it. If it's something we don't want to do,
We don't.
try and create things that we actually want to do and we think people want to go to. Try to treat those people well.
I mean, that's sort of the whole point.
Understand that sometimes it doesn't get done. Sometimes you have to step away from it because it's not going right, and then you have to come back to it later. See if everyone feels differently down the line.
And I
Whether
feel
you're artists or whatever. No?
I feel like where so many people get into a bad situation is they do things they do things half baked because they have to do it. And put the way the things have gone in this camp where you don't have to do things that you don't want to do because everything's going the right way is a thing that I don't think a lot of people often.
If you take away that financial pressure to make decisions, you get a lot more creative, and you're less boxed in with what you can and we can or cannot do or figure out. But if you're always making decisions, you know what I mean, like, oh, to get this or to make this or to do that or to cover that, like, I don't know, you're just kind of fucked from the get-go. And I mean, I guess you can be successful and book some shows and make some money, but you're just kind of being reactive instead of taking initiative and putting a plan in action so you can weather the storms. And
a lot of the status quo way of doing that business is to take things as they come instead of being proactive.
right
Which we've done,
That is literally what everyone does.
Yeah, that's what we used to do
people
back in the day.
Shocked
Just
when you're like, nah, and they're like, what?
That's literally what happened to you on the phone.
What?
Like,
All right.
Like, it's
You
not.
sure?
It's literally not right
All right,
to mention the amount of things that we turn down and the money that we turn down. But like when Brad does it, people are like, "What?" Like come back like
because nobody says no.
They're like we paid X and X that, and they didn't. It's like, yeah, sorry, man, we don't want to do it.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, it's just like what's good for this band's not good for us. And we're not going to put ourselves in that spot.
We're going to build some cool stuff, though. There's plenty of stuff.
Like, everything that we talk about is fun. Like, there's great, unique ideas getting out there. And that's, again, I don't think a lot of people think that way.
Well, we made during COVID, most people stepped back and they just waited. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Waited. They took their business loans or their PPP money or whatever it was that came through. Everybody was different. And we developed an entire second side of our business that wasn't touring related. And
diversity.
And it was something that we were doing before the pandemic and we went all in on. And that makes it so that we do not have to like go nuts on the live shows. And I think it really helps. It really, really helps to just be able to, I don't know.
I mean, arguably everything the band has done in the past couple of years has been fucking cool. And there's, you could discuss that one way or the other, but they've been the right looks in the right clubs, the right festivals, and the right positions. And it's by design.
Yeah. Well, and like a thing that I think I know it's really hard for fans to understand some of this stuff. But like, it's bad for morale to like be out there for 35 straight days and play 3 different shows in the state of Montana. You know what I mean? Like,
you gotta get to Montana, man.
Well, I'm not just. I mean, I'm in Missouri. Like, I'm in flyover land. Like, but you know what I mean? It's like you're not just out there flogging it because you have to flog it because that's the only way forward for your business.
Well, when the world was different, it was like there wasn't so much people filming and posting online. Like, there was no internet back when we started touring, and so you literally had to go to each town in order to let people know you have a band.
Yeah.
This is our album, this or something. So, like, it's just a fundamentally different world.
Where you
don't have to hit each town. And you could, I mean, sure, you can hit. There's people there. I'm not saying don't hit a small town, but it's just not something you have to do.
Yeah.
To make it.
Well, like we were talking about earlier, when we drove by and saw when we were driving wherever the other day, and I saw this VFW hall, and I was like, oh, and the three of us in the car, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what sort of terrible gig that one of us played in this VFW hall at some point. And it was like, you know, it was kind of the way it was. Like, you know, you could
play all those halls.
You could play all of them, and like in 1995, going and doing that, like that's how you sold records. And so it was easy to go to like a region of the country, and it's like, oh, we're gonna play a different tiny VFW somewhere every day for 2 weeks, and that's how we're gonna sell our records.
We'd get boxes of CDs from the record label, and we would sell those on tour, and we'd sell T-shirts, of course, hoodies, all that. But I mean, that was like part of how we made money and how people would get into us to come back the next day, or you know, next tour, not day. But that's not how it happens these days.
No.
I mean, obviously.
I don't know, man. I'm actually. It's funny because I never actually talk about this other than with anybody but you guys. So I never say it out loud. But I don't really think that there is a right way and a wrong way. I think each way is right for whoever wants to do it. And I think it gets lost in translation that a lot of decisions that are made, especially when it comes to live, is playing the hand that you are dealt and making the best of a certain situation. You know, I get asked now and then, like, you know, is there like, why don't you tour? Why don't you do this? Like, we'll do it when I want to do it. So that's simple.
When the right situation,
the money makes sense, we're going to do it. Otherwise, why would we do that? Just to tour. Most of these bands hate it, and the bands that don't hate it, they're out there slogging it because that's the only thing they love.
Because they're forcing to have to do it.
No. See, that's too negative. Because sometimes they just love it.
They want to be
all they want to do is play shows. Like, that is what they love. And if that's what they want to do, that's completely okay. Like, they find a way to monetize that and make a living. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then if somebody doesn't want to only do that, say they like doing it, they want to do it a little bit, you can't then go, well, we're out there doing this. You know what I mean? So we deserve better. It's like, that's not how the world works.
No, absolutely. I mean, we have very dear friends that, like, they want to play 100 to 150 shows a year because that's like,
and I hope it goes great.
And I hope it goes great for them. I don't think anybody in this room wants any part of 150 shows a year at this time in our lives or career. You know what I mean? And it's like,
if it was the right situation, I think every single person in this room would consider it. But if you told me, hey, we want to do 150 for the next 10 years, every single person in this room would be like, no.
Well, yeah.
We're not, it's like, we're not even doing that.
You know, if everybody...
But 1 year?
Yeah,
we're listening.
Like 1 year, it's like, all right, we can do this. It's like, you get it the right way, you do it, and you go for it. Yeah. But, like, you know, mad respect to our friends that still do it that way and want to do it. But do what? I'm too respectful. Yeah. But like, that's just not the way.
No, I say all power to anybody who's doing what they want to do, and if that is the only thing that they like to do, fucking do it.
There's all kinds of artists out there doing all kinds of different things. Some of them probably still get the boxes of CDs and sell them at their shows.
Yeah.
And we have CDs at our shows sometimes. I mean, it's just a little different nowadays. It's us buying our own CDs.
Yeah, that's a big thing when you start realizing, like, one of the things that we didn't see coming when we did self-titled, to slow down and never think about this, but we went out and we shopped what would have been self-titled around, and nothing. Yeah. We didn't get anything back that we liked. So self-titled became how do we want to do this? Like, was another way to do this? And bands are releasing things on their own. Back in 2017, 18, in that time frame, when people were doing their, when they were releasing things, like, artists had a lot of control. The world is different today than it was back then. But, like, it was very open to, like, oh, well, we could do this ourselves.
Yeah.
What does this look like? Oh, there are people at these companies that are out there for distro that actually, like, might help us place something, might do something, you know, in a way that we want to. But there was that was the best alternative for us in the way we were. And then, you get through COVID and the gatekeepers are all back. It's a different world now. And the self-releasing now is so different than back then. But the difference between like today and 2018, when you put out a record on your own, I don't think anybody saw what those things could become, but could be worth this far away. You know what I mean? So in other words, we're 6 years later. So we released it in 2018. Mm-hmm. So it's 6. So now we're 2025. So we're coming up on 7. And like those things are worth legitimate money. Mm-hmm. Like not necessarily monthly. If we chose tomorrow to bundle them up, call one of these venture capital firms and sell them, like we're not talking like, oh, cool, thanks for $100,000. Like we're starting those conversations. And the question is, how many millions? That's the question. How many are you putting on the table? And like, do we get that when like every month? Like, fuck no, we don't. You know what I mean? But that's what they end up being worth in equity. It changes everything. So now we have options. Bands that have options can actually make fun things happen. Mm-hmm. Bands who don't, who just work themselves to death, can't get jealous of bands that may have options. Or they guess they can get jealous. They shouldn't. It's just that's
what should bands do that don't have options? How do you get options?
I don't know. Stop taking the money.
Say no.
Yeah, stop taking the money. And to the gatekeepers, I was going to say, with the gatekeepers being back, does the artist still have the power? I feel like, I don't know, they still kind of almost
There is
do.
zero chance that the artist can't regain control of their own career if they stop for a second, breathe,
right,
analyze how they make money, where they make money, who's collecting the bulk of that money that they are making, and then look themselves in the mirror and say, are we willing to do a little bit more work to take a percentage of this back? And then if you ultimately believe in yourself over time, as I told an artist in a well-known band the other day, I mean like 2 months ago, before when they were switching agents, I had like an honest conversation with someone that Mike told to call me, and I was like, if you want to do any of that, start now. Even if you're hiring another agent, start now, because you're not going to see any returns for 4 or 5 years. So why start then? Start now. Mm-hmm. Even if it starts small. You know what I mean? Figure out where all your money is and start cutting out the middlemen. And then when you start making money and it's too much work, that's when you have to hire people to do it. And sometimes some people don't want that. Some people are like, I do not want to run a business. Mm-hmm. I just want to get paid to do my thing.
Yeah, because then you're not doing the thing, you're running the business.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday with somebody. Like, it was like, they switched companies, and it was like, why did they not just do it on their own? And like, we were talking, it's like they did try it for 6 months. They realized it wasn't for them. Yeah. And you move back to it. Like, there is something to be said for being a part of that. But, I think when people get in trouble, it's thinking about what is going to pop money or something short term, quickly.
Yeah.
And like, it's a thing that I've always found unique about this band, and like as I'm more involved and around and watching it happen, it's like you still have fans. Your fans still want to hear your new material and treasure it and want it and crave it. And there's a lot of people, the vast majority, I feel, that's not really the case. And it really helps change. And like Tom was saying, it puts you in a spot when, if you did approach somebody, like these conversations, because the current stuff is relevant and is important, that it changes the dynamic.
It's weird. I mean, but my point is, that wasn't intentional, though.
No, it's the way it worked.
Well, it wasn't intentional about making money. It was intentional about, well, if you do exactly what I said, if you step back and analyze what is happening out there and what do you want that's different, that part is intentional. You know what I mean? How do you make something that you create and you put your time into? How do you put it out there in a way that people might be willing to digest it? And do they? You know what I mean? But what we didn't realize is that if that happened, it would actually become valuable.
Yeah.
That was never even in. Just kind of like, oh yeah, oh my bad.
Oops.
Sometimes it is better to be lucky than good.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that.
Why not?
I mean, that happens.
I think there's a lot of that, but I think that people should straight up. I think that they, like I said, they don't ask themselves what they want more often than not, and then they're not honest with themselves that if like say you're in a band and some of your like say Mike Mike admitted here, he's like, well, I don't want to play 150 shows right now. You know what I mean? So if other people that were with Mike wanted to, maybe they're in the wrong band.
Yeah.
People aren't honest with themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or they're not willing to. Like I know people, we all know people who want to play a fuck ton of shows, but they only want to do it at the level that like the people they know are at, when you might have to actually go backwards and be willing to grind. And then we see people not willing to grind, but they want to stay in that weird way. And those are the people that are dangerous. Those are the people that fester and they just like, they everything is
Here's the question for me: it's like, why don't I want to do 150 shows? Well, that's at least 150, probably times 3 promos.
Oh my god,
that I have to do.
Not if we make AI do them.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like I don't immediately think about the actual
Max Headroom style.
Yeah.
I don't actually think about the workload of each promo when you're saying 150 shows, but
Sure.
like, it's probably all wrapped into my, I don't know, my head.
Well, the work that also goes into the promos in addition to shooting and filming.
Well, and then like realizing that it's like you're doing that for 3 straight days, being like, Little Rock, what's up? It's Mike from MxPx. Come see us at Vino's.
You said the wrong date.
Yeah. And then it's like you just got to start over.
Or you have to send them to someone like me, and I'm like, I didn't like your fucking smile.
Yeah. Like,
smile too big.
Like, man.
Smiles too smiley.
Yeah. Go comb your hair a different way.
This one, you said the right thing. Just do it again.
Not energetic enough.
No note at all. Just do it again.
But those are the things people don't think
Again.
about. And that's when you look and you can see that people are fried doing them, and they look hacky and weird. And
That's
it's like,
the rat race, man.
And it's the rat race.
The rat race is hard.
So it's like trying to help put yourself and your people that work with you out of that, if that's what they want.
How many dates did Sum 41 do for their
On this
last
last
tour? Did they do 150?
Yeah, it's probably around there.
I'll bet that's what it was.
Because I might be like, okay, one last tour, sure, I'll do.
No, I have no doubt. I have no doubt that everybody involved would do it. I just don't think everyone involved would do it for 10 years straight. That's
10 years straight.
That's all I said. I didn't.
Yeah.
There's
straight. Yeah.
I mean, if it was like this is what we're doing
we
right now.
We probably did it for 10 years straight without realizing that's what we were doing.
Yeah. Well, because at that age, you loved the thing. Like you loved. I'm going to write a record. I'm going to put it out, and I'm going to go play shows. Like I just want to play shows. Like that's how a lot of bands think.
Yeah,
play shows. The difference is like you're 74 and you have 2 kids, and, and your back hurts, and you're like, you know what? I want to see my kids grow up. Like there's people's priorities change.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean that you're not the same kid that likes to write songs and play shows.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean you're not that guy.
You find a different way to make that occur in your life.
Yeah. Like so in other words, that where we talk about bands that all they want to do is play shows or write songs and play shows or whatever, like you're probably still just like them. It's just that now you have other priorities too, and so it's balanced more. But some people are like, no, this is my job. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like if that's what they want to do, like all power to them. Some bands, what it is.
Yeah,
that's totally cool. But I think what's funny for us, like Brad was working on something yesterday, where this guy from Live Nation called him, and Brad sent it back and said, I want this, and the guy hit him back with what Brad asked for, and he was like, you don't have to sell me, man. I know what I'm signing up for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I think what I'm like.
So sometimes it actually does pay off.
Well, what I was trying to say is that, like, you get leverage like that when you have leverage like that, when you are being deliberate about what you want to do, when you are willing to walk away from something, But then there's going to be people that won't give you that leverage, even if you have it, right? There's going to be those difficult people. That's the world.
Then you just don't work with them. You work with the person.
That's when you pivot.
Yeah. Or you choose to do it. That's your choice. You can choose to give away. Like you could be like, you know what? I want to do it anyway. You can choose to do that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm sure that there's literally.
We did that with NoFX.
Yeah.
Like literally, we did that with NoFX. I had a conversation with Kent about that. Like we never in a million years would have done the NoFX shows if it wasn't NoFX and they were retiring.
Right.
we were like, you know what? We want to do these things. So they sent us the offers. They weren't what we wanted anyway, but they tried. And we were like, fine, what let's do it. And they were like, wait, what? That's literally how it went. They were like, wait, you said yes? Like they thought we were saying no. And I was like, well, we're not going to get to what we want.
Right.
So we're either doing them or we're not.
Right.
We're not.
And then it's just you figure out if that's like if everybody involved wants to do it and they have their eyes wide open.
We had a blast.
Yeah.
We had a blast. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
they were fun.
Yeah. Like that. And
Denver was wild.
And glad.
We closed Denver.
Yeah.
And I'm glad for it. I just think that what gets lost is that you get the choice.
Yeah.
When you have leverage, you get the choice. So if someone wants to be like, no, I'm not doing that. Here's what I want, and we want to do it. We get the choice to either do it or not.
That's why people are so confused when we say no. They're like, nobody says no because nobody else uses that leverage or has it. One of the two.
Wait, you got something else going on? You don't have to do this?
Right. Yeah.
People are spun out.
It is a little weird, and some people get very offended.
I'm sure.
Like very
because they're just thinking about their own thing and what they got to get done.
Yeah.
Well, they look at it and they're like, I paid X band this amount of money.
That's the most dangerous thing in the world.
And like, you know, it's like, well, why
when
aren't
people
you
like you do that, it makes me upset.
Well, you know.
Yeah. I paid X band this much money. You should take it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. No, I mean, I am.
Maybe they needed the money.
I am also the enemy.
You are the enemy.
Yeah.
No, your enemy.
Green Day made a song about you.
Yeah. No, I mean,
should we wrap it up?
This is weird, man. This is too serious. We can wrap
It's
it
a
up.
lot of music biz. A lot of music biz stuff. You know, insider.
I think
trading and all that.
I think it's simple. Music is actually really simple, although very complicated. At a small level, it could be really, really fun. If you take it too seriously, you can ruin it. You know? But then once you reach a certain threshold, it is business. And you have to protect the art from the business. And certain bands are good at that, and certain bands aren't. You know? But it's like, still, even if it's business, it's still our livelihoods.
yeah.
It's almost always personal.
all of us. Like, and it's all in different ways, you know?
I mean, if I see this kind of like anybody, like it's like I could have a painting business or I could have a corner store, but instead I have a punk rock business.
Yeah, I mean, I could have, like... Yeah.
I was like, where's he going with this? And then just like, bloop.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very weird thing to think that, like, somehow, after all these years, I'm making, like, an actual living on art in some way.
You're making too much money.
Yeah, I guarantee you somebody will say that.
making a living?
Yeah. We need to take more of
like
that
that.
deal.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's somebody's
It
sitting
is kind
directly
of
in my lap.
amazing. It is amazing having Bert so inside for us because he is a promoter.
Should we be saying to people?
We probably shouldn't be. Nobody in the business listens to this podcast.
He ain't the only one.
Right? We have a lot of friends in the biz.
but like, but it is funny. It's like, you know, but it just also goes to show with how you guys have built things that there's people that are.
Everybody comes back.
Yep.
Everybody that's left comes back unless we tell them they're not invited. And that group of people, all the way back to 1994, can be counted on one hand. Mm-hmm. Where we've actually told people that. So if you're one of those people, you're a real fucking dick.
Yeah, this conversation got like oddly like businessy and wonky a little, like considering like we've spent the past few days together being just like a giant like day-long dick joke every day.
I was thinking about what? I was thinking about last night.
DMX Reading Rainbow. Google it.
Yeah.
Watch on YouTube.
I was thinking about last night. I told you guys this story, and I woke up like today. I literally woke up thinking about it, like I dreamt about it. But it was when we started working with Goldfinger. So you guys all know this, but no one who's listening knows this. And I was like, we need to hire a tour manager. And Brent at the time goes, like, Reed can do it. We were like, and I was like, you sure? He's like, Reed can do it. And so I texted Reed the night the night of the show, and I was like, how are things going? And Reed sends me a video of John Feldman serenading him with Let It Go by the Disney song.
Let it go.
Let it go. Yeah, and then jumps into Reed and gives like a giant hug. You know what I mean? And no explanation. That's how Reed answered the text. And so I was like, I guess it's going fine. And then later, we're settling, and Reed sends me this text. I got paid in cash. And it was like a million exclamation points. And I sent a text back, and I was like, why? And he was like, well, they asked me check or cash. And I said cash. And they gave it all to me in cash. And I was like, why do we need, blah,
blah, blah, dollars cash.
Let's just say arbitrary number, $30,000 in cash. And just goes, fuck. And then we had all this cash.
To make it a pain in the ass at the airport, of course.
Oh my God, man. That is the story of our lives, though. Rinse, repeat that at every single show with Robert.
It's a sitcom.
Robert.
That's what we call a sitcom moment. Sitcom moment.
Robert.
Sitcom coming soon.
Robert, these people are taking too long. We should charge them.
We're gonna hit curfew.
Shout out to Rod in Canada, Toronto area.
We talked about you this week.
And how you wanted me to punch you in the face. And I didn't punch you hard enough, so I think now your ex-wife, wife at the time, said, watch this, and punches you so hard, blood splattered all over your face.
Yeah.
Shout out to you.
Yeah. Shout out to Jake Langley for calling me at the prank phone call, trying to convince me that the private show we did was actually a nudist party, a swingers party. Swingers
It
party.
might have actually been a swingers party.
It wasn't. It was a prank phone call. Jake didn't get me, but it was good.
I'm gonna give another shout out to Jake Langley here for being the reason that that the St. Louis van break-in ring breaks up.
That's right. You solved a huge.
We solved this whole thing, and then I call you and I say, "Hey, man, I've got your backpack that got stolen out of the van." And you go, "Oh, that's awesome!" But it was just dirty laundry. But shout out Jake Langley for that one. So 2 shout outs.
Oh my God.
I'll close it. I'll give a shout out to Jake also. What's up, Jake? Clean sweep.
I'm gonna shout out to Bob McKnight.
I like Bob
producing, and congratulations on your new part-time job.
Bob
appreciate you.
Going to do. He might have picked up another job.
He did,
but I know.
Oh, you know all about this?
I heard you just say it.
Oh, you don't know the details.
I have fucking ears, man.
I got you. I thought you knew the details.
Bob might have got another job, but Bob is going to run an MxPx related podcasty thingy when we go into new record mode.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? At this time, we were going to do it for Find a Way Home, and then we just never called Bob.
We just called Bob. We thought about that.
We called it. We told him we were going to do it, and then we just never did it. So we're going to actually do it. That's definitely going to happen.
That'd be fun.
And that's supposed to be interactive, and you guys get to all interact with Bob, who I think he's pretty nice. Bob's nice.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's a normie that we get to
a normie.
Meaning, like, he's not in the music business. He's like,
he's a normal. He's a regular human.
He's like, I work on your podcast, and now I have this music business job that Mike just told everyone about. And Mike's over here calling me a fucking normie.
He's a normie that's now not a normie.
He is an equal, Dave.
All right, Dave.
Yeah, Dave.
My new nickname, Dave.
Where's Dave?
Dave and Buster's.
Oh man! Hey, did we ever hear back from Andy?
I wonder why she called me Dave.
No, there is no rhyme or reason to why you got called Dave.
But like I said, Mike is a very basic name. Dave is a very basic name. That's why I think she called me Dave.
Andy did not text me back during this podcast.
All right, Andy.
So Andy's got to get fired.
Shout out to Andy.
That's just what that means.
I'm really glad we got that last hangout in Dallas before you're voted off the island, dog.
No, Andy will be all right.
Round table, who we missing? Chris came and did lights. Took a funny video of Bert.
Oh man!
And then convinced everybody send me messages saying, "Can Chris stay?"
Yeah. So, shout out Trey.
Yep.
Shout out
Johnny for sure. Trey.
Shout out Barry.
Mr. Tony Godino.
Shout out Mark.
Sales.
Tony, Mark.
Probably should shout out my mom.
Mark for sure. Your mom for sure. Mary.
Yeah. Shout out mom.
Mom. The meatloaf.
What?
Shout out DMX.
Yeah.
Shout out DMX.
The meatloaf.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, Michelle. Sorry if I made your life hard last week.
Yeah. We have to fix those accounting problems.
Yeah, we're gonna get that.
Hey, no, we got it all under control.
I'm just saying. Who else we missing? We missed somebody. That's not everybody.
We shout out
Cole.
Johnny.
Cole. We got Johnny.
We got Johnny. Cole. There's somebody
We
who's
got
still
Code
missing
already before we talked about
Code. Mark Code.
Shout out Woody. I'm the only person that calls him Woody.
We said Mark.
I thought that was Code.
For sure.
Oh no.
But Code also,
Mark
we're razzing Andy about the curfew.
We have two Marks.
But man, Code was also guilty for the one lobby call.
It was
a mutual.
I was surprised. I can see Andy doing it,
Andy
but
took
Code
the shit, but Code gets away with it.
Well, there's the rest of the band. Shout out to the rest of the band.
Shout out to the boys.
I got to text Chris Adkins back. I told him I would text him back and never did.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, I'll call him. It's easier. He's going to be like, "Ooh, I get Tom time." That's what he's going to say. And then Liz, Yuri, there's somebody we're missing.
Hang on.
We are forgetting somebody.
No.
We are forgetting
Bert was
somebody.
there.
I was there.
Bert was there.
Shout out Furlot.
Furlot. Yes. Yes, we have to call him soon.
Yeah, because that's
Please don't bring us any more requests from Rise
Oh,
Records.
also, while we're talking about shout-outs from the Dallas-Houston weekend, big shout to our buddy who brought us all that barbecue.
Oh, the barbecue.
Oh my god.
God,
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
that was pretty awesome.
Sunbird barbecue.
Sunbird barbecue,
Sunbird
So
barbecue.
good.
so good.
Longview.
Shout out to the Descendants.
Yeah,
That's right.
Big shout out to the Descendants.
Hopefully seeing you this year. Shout out to Cam and Josh for putting up with us.
Shout out to Fletcher for breaking my base.
Oh man, I legitimately I wasn't standing on the stage.
Those
when that
guys
went
have
down.
been so nice to us.
I know.
Like
But-
they love us.
I wasn't standing on the stage. I was watching this happen. And I saw Fletcher going nuts. And I'm wow, I'm watching on TV. And then I look at the video and I'm watching on this TV and it looked from what I was watching live, it looked like he killed you. And I start running to the stage and I'm like, holy shit, what's happening here? But my gut reaction was, oh my god.
Look, we can easily solve this. I know Fletcher was sorry, asked if offer to pay for it. We should have just given him a hit list.
We did take care of
We
these
did this right
people.
now. Jim would have been very upset about this. We'd be like, look, here's some people we have a problem with in the music business. Break their instruments when you're
Shake
drunk.
these people down.
That's what we should have done. Not shake this out. Break their instruments while
Break
you're
their
drunk.
instruments.
But I legitimately...
Please go
Just
Fletcher.
do what you love to do.
Do what you love to do.
With these
That's what
guys.
this podcast was about.
Yeah.
We got your writer. We got your
and,
writer ready.
and we will pay. We will pay you.
But
we will pay.
I remember looking over and I'm watching on that
Never
TV
even.
screen,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, dude, Mike's dead. And Brad was the first person that I saw, and I saw him right before you gave him the bass, and I'm like, dude,
I didn't
did you
give
see
him
this?
the base.
But
I was like,
but
all right, fine.
the look on-
I stopped fighting.
Yeah, no. When you gave Brad the broken bass, is what I'm saying. And so I saw it. I'm like, dude, did you see what happened? And he's like, no. And then you came up with it, and the look on Brad's face was just like, what happened? But
Brad had sent me a picture.
my fat ass has never run that fast in my life. I'm like, Mike is dead. I was flying.
I would have been like, sweet.
Ah.
Would have been like, we're all getting rich.
One last tour with no mic.
Yeah.
How'd that happen? Have Tony come up and sing?
So
Tony Mesk, Tony Lovato.
he did.
Oh, not Tony Godino?
That's because that's a.
he doesn't mean
Tony
311
filled in. He
karaoke
filled in
sesh.
for MxPx when I was sick on the Real Big Fish tour, in 1998 or 99 or something like that.
Yeah, he sang in St. Louis.
Or maybe it was later.
I think it was
2000s.
it was the early 2000s. But
First time we toured with Real Big Fish was 98 or 9.
yeah, but
The first show was Providence, Rhode Island.
Lupos?
Yes,
Why do you remember? Like, why?
because it was the first show.
Oh,
And I remember it was just a giant, there was a giant table / bar in the middle of the room or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't in the middle of the room.
No, it
That
was.
a long-
At the
was
old
it really?
Lupos. Yeah.
Yeah, the old one, yeah.
And it's now called the Strand, and they've rebuilt it. And
Oh, I've
totally
heard of
gutted
the Strand.
it. Yeah. But man, Yeah, that was wild. But yeah, no, but one of the shows Tony sang on was in St. Louis.
Yeah,
so,
I remember that was actually the craziest one because we got heckled by Real Big Fish fans so bad. Wow. They were like, "You suck," blah blah.
You know how ridiculous that statement
is? I was thinking the same thing. Like,
and Tony,
like they have any room to
started talking shit back to them, and like was like getting in a fight with them. And then after our set, he ran after these guys in the parking lot
behind,
and we're like following him to like help him, but we're not going to beat up these guys.
No, but yeah, man, it was totally insane.
Oh my god.
But that was like this is we need to go. But like Real Big Fish was doing these like all these like in the early 2000s. It was like Real Big Fish would co-headline with somebody, and like it was just always funny to like see.
What was their last show before they called it for a while?
I don't think they played since COVID.
Did they have a final tour? Or they
probably Slam Dunk.
Yeah, but like I just remember like every year. The band that was like your band, the like non-ska band on this thing, was met with varying degrees of like hostility.
It's so weird.
And then like 10 years later, they start going out and playing like co-headline tours with Anti-Flag, and people are going apeshit. And it's like how different just it changed over that time. But man, those like 03, like 02, 03, 04, 05 tours. If there was somebody in that slot that was like MxPx, man. That fan base, but that's actually hated people.
It's actually not even just them though. Like that's how much music changed, you know. Because like when we started doing a lot of the bills that we do, like there was always like, I wonder if these fans are gonna, you know what I mean? Like it's like, nah, man, everything's gonna be fine, and then go do it, and it was fine, you know what I mean? But like music's changed, people are different, but it really was more volatile back then.
Yeah,
that wasn't fake.
No. I mean, those people wanted to fight. They legitimately wanted to beat you up. They were like, there ain't no horns.
I was watching
ain't no horns, boy.
I was watching that Woodstock documentary.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
And they were talking about how like back in like 1999, it was a bunch of angry white dudes that, you know, and they're like their new metal rap, whatever.
Jesus,
you know?
Yeah.
And when I think back and I heard someone say that like that, which I thought was a weird way to sum it up. But when I heard about it, I started thinking about what we're talking about and the whole music scene. I was like, you know what? Everyone was really angry at that time. Yeah. It was really segregated. It wasn't just these bands making music that were.
Watching that documentary, though,
I was like, too good. Kids are too bored.
Yeah. But like watching that documentary, I was like, holy cow, like people trying to hold like 2024 ethics to like 1999 behavior.
Yeah.
And like Fred Durst is just playing a show, man.
Different
like,
world.
The whole thing. But like watching Moby try to be like, it was the most embarrassing and humiliating and the hateful thing. Like, stop. Like, come on, man.
Nobody
like,
was thinking
nobody
about
thought about
any of that. They're
like people were
the
just
fuck up,
people were just bitch ass dude. It's just like
he's just mad that he hasn't had hair for 20 years. That's all it is.
I mean, I'm mad I don't have a tattoo that just says vegan across my throat. So,
shout out to Brent.
Shout out Brent.
Wow,
Brent got a shout.
We don't need vegan food anymore.
My favorite Brent moment personally was I did a solo show in London after a Goldfinger run, and we were upstairs. I want to say it was after the show or before. I don't know. It could have been before the show, but it had to be after. It was after the show. I did a meet and greet, but it was like in a bar area, and so I went and got a beer, and so I'm having a beer, and then these people come up and they're like, "Hey, can you sign this stuff? Can we get pictures?" Sure. Brent, I hand him my beer. Can you hold this? And he's sitting there holding a beer so awkwardly, and I just like,
I'll see it.
I just took my phone and I just took a picture of him just holding that beer, and he it's just like, it was just the best moment because he looked like.
Was that
like if FU was a person?
Was that the same trip? Like right after? Did we send him to Norway for like 3 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, look at that. We're not
full
dicks.
paid vacation by the
dicks.
company.
We're not dicks.
To Norway to see the Northern Lights. Him and his girlfriend.
Girlfriend.
Yeah.
I remember.
You're welcome, Brent.
My favorite Brent story was weirdly they were playing with Real Big Fish in St. Louis at a like. Brent was in Survey Says, and they were playing a show.
This was not a precedent.
Playing a show in St. Louis with Real Big Fish at like basically just a food court like just a fucking food court across the street from the Cardinal Stadium, and they added a local band to the show and made Cerveza's play before the local band, even though they were on the tour. And then the venue was like, not only are you playing in this spot, you're not getting any hospitality, you're not allowed in the dressing room. And whoa! And my ex-wife ran a Whole Foods, and like he was just texting me about how terrible it was, and I just remember going and using
the Whole Foods or the show.
The show, but I remember taking my ex-wife's Whole Foods discount card and going and buying all these probably, no offense, Brent, shitty vegan snacks. And then bringing them down and then just watching them play in the food court to like 2,000 indifferent weird backward baseball hat wearing Cardinals jersey wearing people.
And it was kind of like a corporate event kind of deal.
No, it was like open to the public in like a bar across the street from the baseball stadium that's like branded about.
We've played a bunch of those types of things like in Seattle when we were kind of on board with 107.7 The End, the alternative radio
yes,
station.
It was a radio.
We'd play a lot of those things.
Yeah.
And so like after the Seahawks games or a Mariner game, we'd like play an afternoon set at the bar, and then random people would be in there.
But man, I just remember it's like
weird days, right?
We had to play before the local band, and we're on the tour.
Yeah.
And we weren't allowed backstage. And we didn't get any food.
Isn't it way cooler that they did that and now they have that story? Because if they didn't do that, then like, what?
I think it's just hilarious that somebody had made those decisions and had to go out and tell the band, like, you stay outside.
Yeah.
Don't come inside.
I just remember walking into this place
allowed.
with like 2 bags of like tofurkey and fucking other bullshit, and like just walking into this with 2 Whole Foods bags and just being like, here you go, guys. And they're like, oh my god, thank you. But that's
those guys.
They were probably going to let him in
until
they saw Brent. Yeah. Sorry guys, you can't come in. I'm kidding, Brent. Don't kill yourself.
No. Oh man, Brent, that veggie burger,
I love you, buddy.
that vegan burger we shared that moment together at LA.
Hey, to make up for what I just said, I actually went to a vegan diner with Brent and Reed, and there was nothing but miracle food or whatever they call that stuff.
Impossible.
Miracle food. I ordered a vegan breakfast just to like have solidarity with those guys, and it was great. I mean, the food was terrible, but it was great to hang out with them.
Yeah.
The tasty in Chicago or in Philly's pretty good. That vegan breakfast place.
You know,
I don't like how on this podcast you're calling it correctly. Like for like my entire time I've known you, you've called it vegan.
Chef Vito in LA has an amazing vegan restaurant. I'll go there any day.
Vegan.
Awesome.
I took Graber and Reed to.
Graber called me like yesterday.
Oh, shout out Graber.
Yeah.
Shout out Graber.
There we go.
I think it was yesterday. I didn't pick up. Sorry, Graber.
He mixed southbound to San Antonio.
It was yesterday. He literally called. He was the last missed call I have is John Graber.
Nice.
I don't know what you were looking for, man, but we love you.
Here you go. I took them to a vegan restaurant in St. Louis. It was great, but let's finish this up.
Yeah, no, that was a great story.
Oh my god!
I'm great at transitions.
All right.
I truly thought
that was fun.
I truly thought that when we were sitting down and he put the phone out, that like it was going to be the end of this podcast the whole time. And he's like, so "How do you make it? Tell us how the music business is."
Yeah,
and it's like, well, man,
start from scratch.
It's
well, you got 2 people who like to talk.
It's fun, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Sometimes one way outweighs the other.
You're describing life.
Oh.
Life is fun and amazing and a miracle, but it also sucks a lot of times.
The job makes me cry literally once a week. But like when it's rewarding, it's as cool.
And he's
as
the
it
toughest guy I know. So I mean, like, that's how bad the.
But no, the music, but it can beat you down. But it was.
That's great.
So
that's 5 hours.
All right, let's get positive, guys. We got MxPx. It's 2025.
Look at this.
What happened? What are we talking
about? Here's a video. I know we tried to end this, but we
5 Iron just played Seattle last night.
That's really good.
As we're recording this, Portland tonight, and both shows were packed. Actually, Portland was sold out. Looks great.
I think
Congratulations.
Seattle
Shout
sold
out 5
I
Iron.
think Seattle
Shout
sold
out
out too.
5 Iron.
Shout
Look
out.
at that, man. I think it's sold out too.
Shout out Unwritten Law.
Looking at it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unwritten Law has shows sold out next weekend.
Yep.
It's in San Diego.
So MxPx.
Goldfinger is shows at the end of
Goldfinger, that's right.
February.
We got gigs, baby.
I got to start learning or dusting off the Goldfinger.
Yeah, if you play the gigs.
Yeah. It's always a mystery. It's always there's never a guarantee.
It's always
But MxPx, we don't have anything right now, but
We have plenty planned.
We're
We're just not
working on
telling
a
anyone.
lot of stuff, and we're just not ready to
we have
disclose.
we have plenty done.
That's why we had this top secret. podcast.
We just
right.
don't tell Mike anything.
That's true. I do find out last.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah,
times.
it's all-
It do be that way.
Like, hey, can you do a promo for like these 150 shows?
Yeah. Hey, and by the way, we need them tomorrow, and we need you to finish the other things we asked you to. Thanks.
Yeah.
And don't tell us that you're busy. We know you're not.
I'm never busy.
Why? Because we already asked your wife, and she said you're free. You're free.
Probably the most time I spend doing anything is this podcast.
Oh, well,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
we your
Sleeping.
Your band
That's
has
definitely the most.
Your band has plenty.
Yeah, the band.
We're
It's
gonna-
going to be a good year for MxPx, and
You're gonna take a break, and then you're gonna do 2 a days. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 a weeks.
I got to write some songs too.
Not 2 a days. 2 a
We
weeks.
got
Can
Brad
I write
doing
2 songs a day?
Yeah, there we go.
Probably
We
not.
got Brad doing a 100-mile bike ride here coming up.
Oof.
Nice.
March 15th.
Are you looking
Man.
forward to it?
I am looking
Stoked.
forward to it. I am a little worried.
What is the
about,
longest you've ridden before?
About 51 or like 52 miles.
So this is
in like
way
one
Were
shot.
you like dead after that?
Yeah, I was pretty cooked.
Towards the end.
But that was like all in one shot. Like I didn't stop.
So the 150 is not in one shot.
Well, so like you can ride it in one shot, but there are like fueling stations and rest stations. So
Is it going to be like an overnight thing? You think?
no, but I anticipate it's probably going to take me anywhere from 6.5 to maybe 8.5 hours to do all of it.
So you're going to work.
Yeah.
So it's a good day to have all the promoters call you.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
where are you putting your cell phone when you're doing this race? Is
Yeah,
it in
it'll
your
be-
pocket-
it'll
in a
be-
You
pouch?
have the headphones on,
Yeah.
so you could
Headphones?
Hey Siri,
headphones.
pick up.
It'll be
You
turned
don't
off.
raw dog the race.
No, there's no way. There'll be probably some sections are raw dogging. But,
Secret weapon, right? You start out. with
Yeah,
secret
yeah,
weapon.
yeah, exactly,
Yes.
exactly, yeah. But there are some sections where I would probably want to listen to some music. There are probably some sections that I probably would just want to ride, like party pace and just like chat with people because there's some friends doing it.
Dude, you're gonna be so
Party
zen.
pace.
I love that. I've never heard of such a thing.
Party pace.
Party pace.
Yeah, where you just like you're just cruising and chatting and
Is that a
talking
bike?
shit.
Dude, what's hit? We gotta
Thing? Yeah,
we
party
got we
pace.
got to write that date down because any
Oh, yeah.
any difficult
April what?
conversation,
March 15th.
March 15th.
I wish it was in April. I've got less than 2 months.
any conversation we need to have with Brad that's semi difficult, we need to have immediately following that race. He'll be like,
Yeah, man, go for it.
That sounds great.
Sounds good. Sounds great.
I'm in.
Is there anything you guys want to say before we stop the recording?
Yeah, always have difficult conversations after a 150-mile bike ride. that is my life advice to people. That's how you get things done. You like, listen and go like, okay, write that date down. Just save them for that day.
I'd say one thing: if you're texting somebody and it's not working and you're not getting things done, call them on the actual phone.
Yeah.
And I know people don't actually want to do that, but it really does work.
Also, if you are trying to get things done and you don't want to talk to people on the phone,
FaceTime them.
you might want to just
Ignore them.
you might just want to look in the mirror and realize you're an asshole.
Wait, is that about me?
It's certainly about people who are in bands. It's not about you.
If you
Okay,
text
good.
and can't get them, call. If you call and can't get them, FaceTime. If you
Yeah.
FaceTime and can't get them,
If you just can't talk,
Just fly to them.
can't get something done.
You just gotta fly to them.
You gotta- It works.
Reevaluate.
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. Shout out to Bob McKnight for producing and MxPx.com for merch. Appreciate y'all.
Peace.
Peace.